Hello everyone, I'm Alicia. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make bangles and rings out of magazine pages. So if you have a bunch of magazines around your house and you're fixing to toss them out, don't toss them out, because this is a great project that you could do with old magazines and even catalogs, and you could just do so many different things to these bangles. I'm going to talk about the ways I've decorated mine, and hopefully you can think of new ways to decorate them other than what I've done and share it with me on Facebook. So the first one that I did was this one right here, and I actually put gold leaf here on the outside edges and on the inside of this one, and I did it late at night. It was like 1:30 in the morning, and I didn't have time to varnish it, so I just left it there on my desk. And then the next day I had company coming, and I didn't get to varnish it till like 24 hours later, and by the time I went to do it, my gold leaf was, or my gilding flakes was starting to tarnish on me. So it does have this vintage old look, and I do love how it has actually turned out, even though it's tarnished, because it really matches the look of my bangle here. And this is a Napkins that I've decoupaged onto the bangle, and I just love how it looks. It's very vintage looking to me. It's really cute. This bangle here, instead of doing gold leaf, I did gold metallic paint because I wanted to see what that was like, and I had it on hand, and this is what it looks like with my gold metallic. And this one I did scrapbook paper on top, and I had this section of my scrapbook paper that was the same width as my bangle, so I just cut that out on the lines here, as you could see, and it fit perfectly. It's really neat. And you can make different sizes, and I'm going to talk about that later on with you. These one here, as you can see, they're wide, so I used paper and napkins that had a nice print on them because I was able to show off the prettiness of the paper because of how wide these were. These here are thinner bangles, and these here I painted with acrylic paint, and then I put the gold leaf over them and I varnished it immediately so it didn't tarnish as much. And I just love how these look. They have a bohemian look to me. And these bangles are so hard. Hear that? They are really hard. I mean, that's on my wood desk right there. Very hard because of all the process I've gone to preserve them. These are the rings that I've made, and I have a matching ring for each bangle, and I will be making the one for this in the video to match that. And this one here has the script on it that matches this here, and I also gold leafed that one. Okay, so this is what I've made, and now I'm going to go over the list of materials and start making them with you guys. So if you love making paper beads, you are going to love making these bangles because they're very similar. Here is the list of materials you will need to make bangles and rings. You will need a glue stick. You will also need Elmer's glue, and I prefer to use the Elmer's glue pen because it's easier to use, and this is the same glue, by the way. You can get the pen at the Dollar Tree. That's where I got mine, and there's actually 3 in a pack, and these are refillable. The cap comes off and you can refill it, which is really awesome. I love that. You're also going to need Mod Podge, and I'm using 2 different kinds. I'm using Mod Podge Hard Coat for the durability, and for doing the gilding flakes, I'm using Mod Podge Matte because it seems like my gilding flakes don't tarnish as much as when I use the matte instead of the hard coat. So the matte for the gilding flakes. You're also going to need magazine or a catalog. I'm using a Fire Mountain Gems catalog. You will also need an old wet rag for wiping your hands off on, and also for cleaning up your surface. I'm also using paint brushes, and I have 2 sizes, one for painting and one for applying my gilding flakes. You're also going to need a ruler, and this is not for measuring. I'm going to use this ruler to wrap my paper around to make my wide bangle. And this is a thinner, skinnier ruler. All the other rulers I've seen are much thicker than this. So if you can find this same ruler, you would probably be happier with the size of your bangle. And if you can't find this ruler, maybe you can use a paint mixing stick. That's probably close in size to this. I don't know. It might not be. It might be a little bit thicker. I'm not totally for sure on that. But I do love this size ruler because it's thinner for this bangle. You're also going to need a pen. This is actually a marker. And this has two purposes behind it. And you'll see that later. And for wrapping the paper around to get the thinner size here, the ring and the bangle, you will need a chopstick or a pencil. If you have a pencil that's not sharpened yet, do one that's not sharpened, because it's longer. You can wrap your paper around that. This is a chopstick, and if you want a thinner than this, you don't like the thickness of this, you can use a bamboo skewer. So this bamboo skewer I use to make the width of this paper here, and this one here I didn't get to do anything to it. I just rolled it because I wanted to see what it would look like, but that is the thickness there, okay? And you will also need scissors. Okay, and if you don't like cutting straight lines with scissors, you can use a paper cutter. You know the paper cutter has a blade on it and you can go like that and cut it? You can use that, and I've used that, and I do prefer it because it's much faster to make several pieces of paper. You will also need a round object to shape your bangle or ring around. For my ring, I'm using a wooden dowel, and for my bangle, I love to use the Mod Podge bottle because this is the same size as the widest part of my hand right here, so that's the perfect size for me. I love using that. And you're also going to need either scrapbook paper, napkins. You can even do tissue paper and even fabric. So if you have a pretty piece of fabric and you love the colors in it, you can decoupage that onto your bangle. You're also going to need, and this is optional, gilding flakes. I bought these on Amazon. I will leave a link for them down there in the description bar. And if you want to go the cheaper way, instead of doing gilding flakes, just do metallic paint, and you can get this in silver, gold, and I think even copper. And you will also need, and this is very important that I've found, chalk paint. This you put on before you do the decoupage of decoupaging any material on your bracelet. It makes it a solid white color. And also before you paint your bangles, if you prefer to paint them, you want to have a nice blank canvas to start with, because there's if you look at the bangle, there's print all over it, and you can see that, you know, you just get a better coverage if you do the chalk paint before you do your paint or before you do the napkin. You're also going to need acrylic paint if you want to do the acrylic paint way, and I'm using this color here. I love this color. And you will also need a varnish, and I'm using minwax polycrylic. That is my favorite varnish for doing paper beads, and I also like it for doing this. If you have another varnish that you like to use, you can use that for paper beads. You can use the same thing for this here. And you're also going to need a bowl of water to rinse your brushes out in, and I even stick my hands in there sometimes to clean the glue off. So this is it. And remember, I always put the material list down there in the description bar so you could see everything, and please look down there because I'm going to have other stuff down there that's important to this video, okay? So please look down there in the description bar. The first thing we need to do is to get our paper ready. So what I do is I take the cover and I rip the cover off of the magazine, because you don't need the cover. The cover is thicker than all the other pages, and you don't want one piece being thicker. You want all your paper to be the same. So rip the cover off, throw that away, you won't need it. And then what you're going to do is take 3 to 4 pieces of paper. I like to do 3. And you want to hold the magazine like this, and you want to gently rip these pages out. Okay. And there you go. You can see that I got that there. Now if you feel the edge of this, it will feel hard from the glue. So I just cut a tiny little bit off. And you can use the paper cutter to do this, or you can use scissors. I'm just going to use the scissors. You only want to cut the little amount off here. You're not cutting much off at all. You just want to get rid of that glue. Okay. Okay, I just cut mine off. Now you have paper ready to make the wide strips of paper for your wide bangle. Okay, so to make the strips of paper for the bangle, you need an entire sheet of paper. Now, if you want to do the thinner bangle, what you want to do is take your paper, and you have to do one piece at a time. Take a whole sheet of paper after you cut the glue piece off, and you want to fold it in half. Okay, just like this. And then you want to open it up, and you want to cut right here on the fold that we just made. Cut that, and then you'll have 2 pieces of paper. So pretend I just cut it and I have 2 pieces of paper. Now you have paper ready to make this style here. So you're going to need several of these to make this style bangle, and to make this style you will need several whole sheets of paper. So again, one more time, to make the wide bangle you will need an entire sheet. To make the thin bangle you will need to cut your pages in half. So as you can see, I've already rolled several of these and I flattened them, and I just have them in a bag here. You're going to need your glue stick. Okay. And what you want to do is you want to roll this onto your chopstick from the corner, and you don't want it to be like this to have a triangle. You want it to be kind of like that as you roll it. And I try to keep most of the paper on my stick, because if I like start rolling it in the middle, I'll have all this over here and the paper's not on it, and it's kind of hard to get a neat roll. So here's the corner of my paper, so I'm going to have it just like this, okay, because then I can pull my stick out, and I'm going to fold this over just like this, okay, and start rolling. So as I get to this corner, you could see that just a little bit of my stick is sticking out. And then as I keep rolling, you can see my sticks right here. Then I have a few inches that aren't covered by the stick. Now I stop right here and I pick it up, and be careful because the whole thing will unroll. And if it doesn't roll, take it off and start over again. So I just like to tighten mine. I grab it right here at the end and I hold it here and I tighten it, because sometimes it could be really loose down here. And if I were to glue it, this part would be a lot wider than this part down here, okay? So I just like to tighten mine up a little bit, and then I set this back down, careful it doesn't unroll, and then I get my glue stick and I glue my paper, okay? And then I just roll it up, just like that, and then I can pull the stick out, okay? And I have what looks like a straw. It's round, just like a straw, it's not flattened yet. I'm going to do another one, just one more time. Again, you want to have it here. You don't want it to have a triangle piece of paper. You want it to be at an angle, more of an angle. So like this. And again, you want to have this end kind of lined up with the end of your stick. Okay, so like that. And I'm going to flip this over and start rolling. Okay. And I'm going to hold this here and pick this up again, because that's how I am. And see how it just unrolled? I'm still holding it with my right hand, so I may be able to fix it. Yes, okay. So just tighten that up, just like that, okay. Make sure it's tight, and then once you got it tight, go ahead and glue it, and then roll it up, okay. And again, take the stick out, okay. So now I have 2 of these here done, and they are in a tube shape. They're round, and I need them to be flat. So you could take a bone folder or something round. I use the pen and flatten this out just like this, okay? Nice and flat. You can flip it over if you want. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this. It's round. I'm going to make it flat. And then what I like to do, and I found this to be extremely helpful, doing this part that I'm about to show you makes the bangles and the rings more compact, tighter wraps. This one bangle I made, this one here, I did not do it. This was one of the first ones I made. Do you see how thick it is? And do you see how it's not as round looking? You can see like little like corners right here. That's because I didn't do this step I'm about to show you. This one I did do it too. Look how tight this one looks. It's very round, okay? So, and here's another one. Look how round that one is. So, the part I'm about to show you is, and I do this for the rings and the bangles, all of them. Once I have a whole bunch of these papers made, I'll take a piece and I'll run my finger in my marker, whatever round objects you have. You want to kind of have something plastic because it's slick and it slides in the paper well. And I just go like this and I bend it and then I flip over and I do this side. And I did half of the paper, so I'm going to turn it around and do this half, just like this, okay? And what we're doing is we're breaking down the paper and it makes it want to wrap a lot easier on a roll. So make sure you do this to all of the paper, okay? Both sides. Turn it around, do this side. I found this to be very helpful to do this. And make sure you do it to all of your paper. After you get done rolling them and flattening them out, you want them all to have this done to them, okay? You'll just have a much nicer looking bangle and ring, okay? So do this to all of your paper, and then once you're done, we can then roll this into a ring or a bangle. So, I also want to let you know, if you do decide on doing the thinner ring, what you want to do when you go to cut your paper for that is you want to cut your paper, or, take a whole sheet of paper, fold it in half. You want to cut on that fold, and then you want to take your paper again. Pretend this is already cut. You want to fold it in half again, okay? And then you want to cut again on this line. Because this is thinner, you need your paper to be thinner when you wrap it into a roll. So in order to make the thinner ring band, you will need a piece of paper that is this thick, okay, to roll. Okay, so I hope that made sense to you. And again, you want to roll it onto the bamboo skewer if you want to get this thickness, okay? So now I'm going to show you how to make a ring. And by the way, the ring is really easy to make and it's faster to make. You can make several of them because you only need one piece of paper. You only need one roll. So a half a sheet is what I use to get this, and you roll it out, and you only need one of these, okay? So what I like to do is I take this dowel here, and I put all of my beaded rings on this dowel. I use it all the time, and they always fit me. But I found, I guess it's because I'm doing several layers of glue, paint, varnish. The ring, the layers are inside, so the ring is kind of shrinking, but just a little bit, maybe like half a size. So what I like to do is I take this here, and I need my pen. I'll open this up. I take my little round object that I'm rolling my ring out on, okay? And I go just like this, and I find, where this part here ends, and I mark it. And the reason why I do this is because if I were to glue this entire piece and then roll it, it would get stuck on my dowel. I would have to put this in water and pull it off. It would be stuck in there because it would be glued on. So I just made a mark right here. Hope you could see that. And then what I'm going to do is take my glue stick, and right where this mark's at, I'm going to glue from this mark all the way to the end, okay? So just like this. Glue this, and if you don't do this quick enough, it will dry on you, but you can just add more glue to it, which I've already done. And I go over this like 3 times. Really get that sticky, okay? Now I'm going to put my dowel on, and I'm going to roll this. And to get your right size, the right size for you, you just want to roll it just maybe like an inch. And then you want to slide this off, okay? You can see where I've rolled it just a little bit. And you can adjust this right now, but you have a very short amount of time to adjust it. I need to take my ring off. Okay? I need this to be just maybe a little bit bigger. And careful it doesn't open up, and you want to try this on. If it feels snug at all, you want to slide this down just like that. See how I did that? And it made this bigger, okay? So then you can continue rolling this, and you can roll it on the dowel, and I normally do, but because I just made it bigger, it's too loose to go on my dowel. So I'm rolling it just like this. Okay, and actually you could stick it on your finger. I've done that too. Or stick it on my finger here where it's whitest, and roll this around. Okay, and I'm just going to put a little bit more glue here just to get a nice roll. Okay, just like that. Then I'll take this off and make sure this is flat. And that piece came up on me there. I can glue that down with some Mod Podge or Elmer's glue. You want to make sure that this is flat, even, okay? Because sometimes it'll stick out on one side. And then if you want, you can put this on something to make it round. Like here's a clear nail polish bottle. Get that round shape and you can smash it. Okay, now you don't really have to let this dry long. Maybe 5 minutes, because it is a glue stick. It dries really fast, and that's why I love using the glue stick, because there's not much drying time. And I do need to glue this down with Elmer's glue, and I'll do that later. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to roll a bangle, and from now on I'm just going to show you how to do the bangle, and all the decorating for the bangle will be the same for the ring. Okay, where's my lid? Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do the bangle. So now I'm going to show you how to roll the wider strips of paper. Okay, this is for the thicker bangles, these bangles here. So in order to do the thicker ones, you want to use an entire sheet of paper, not half a sheet. Okay, I'm just going to do one at a time here. Move this over to the side. You want to roll the paper just like you did with the chopstick, but you're going to be using this ruler. And like I said, this is a thin roller. A lot of the other ones that I own are thick, like this, really wide, and you kind of don't want your bangle to be that wide. This is, I think, an inch. Yeah, this is an inch wide, this ruler. Okay, so I'm going to go just like this, and again, I don't want a triangle paper. I want it at a slight angle like this. Okay, and I do want to have my ruler close to the end here, because I need a lot of it to be down here so I can roll it. And I'm going to fold this up, okay, and this has been tricky for me because I can't pick this up with my fingernails. I'm going to slide it off my desk. I'll move my camera down, okay. So right here you can see the edge of my mat. So I went just like that, and I'm going to fold it up, okay. And then what I like to do, because this can come unraveled, and I didn't do it with the other ones, is I just take the glue stick and I put a little bit of glue right there, and then I slide it to the edge of my mat there, and I roll it. And then I go off of my table, and I hold the ruler like this with my hand. I hope you could see that. And I roll the entire piece of paper till about right here. And then I take my glue stick and I glue this end. Okay, and then I roll it again just like that, and then I slide my ruler out, okay, and then this is actually puffed up. Can you see that? It's not flat, it's puffed. So then I just take, you could use this whenever I use this on my silicone mat, the glue comes out because it's rolling it. I just like to use this pen, and I just roll this out flat, flip it over and do the other side if you want. Okay, and then I have one complete, and I'll just do this one more time for you guys. If you already got what I'm doing, you can just fast forward this. But again, I have an entire sheet of paper to get my wide bangle. I hold this about here. I want this even, the end of my page there. Okay, I don't want a perfect triangle, I want it to be at an angle. I roll this up, and then I roll it again. Okay, and then I put some glue right here, and then I roll this again, and I like to turn at an angle at the edge of my table, and I fold this, and sometimes I even go this way and I flatten that out. Okay, so just keep rolling it just like that, and then I'm going to glue down here. I wish I could move my tripod up higher, but it is attached to the wall, and in order to do that I would have to get a drill and remove it, and then I'm gonna have a whole bunch of holes in the wall. It's a pain in the butt. Okay, so I just put glue there, and then I'm going to wrap this over. And by the way, if you didn't get enough glue there and you have that little bit sticking out, you could just go like that. Okay, or you can even put it on here and then fold that over. Okay, just like that, because this happened to me a couple times. And then slide your ruler out. Okay, and again, it's all puffed up. So then I take something to flatten it with. You can use a bone folder for this if you have one. I do have one, but I figured that a lot of you probably wouldn't. Okay, and just flatten this out. And there we go. So now I have my papers ready to make a wide bangle. Isn't that neat? And again, after you roll these up and you flatten them out, you want to take your pen and you want to go just like this, you know, and soften up your paper so it has nice tight rolls. Do it to this one here too. Just like that. Flip it over, do this side. Okay. Make sure you do this to all of your paper before you roll into a bangle or a ring, so you have nice, compact, tight rolls. Now I'm going to start showing you how to roll your bangles, and the thin bangle and the wide bangle will be rolled the same exact way, okay? So, for both of them, you're going to do the same exact thing. So, I don't know if you've noticed this or not. It's kind of hard to tell just by looking, but one of these ends will be wider and one will be thinner. So, what I do is I play around and I try to find one that will fit inside the other, okay? And these fit together like this, okay? So, I will have this one be my first paper that's going to be touching my skin. This is going to be the inside of my bangle, okay? So, I'm going to attach two together because this is too short right now to just wrap one around my bottle. So, I'm going to take my Elmer's glue and squirt some in there. Okay, and then I'm going to put this one inside of here. Just like that. Slide that in and press that down, okay? Now, I'm going to take the object that is round that I wrap my bangle around, and this I know fits me, I've done it several times already. I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to go just like this, okay? And I have to mark my paper. So I have my marker here. And again, this is just so I don't glue my bangle down to my bottle. So here is a line, okay? That line right here. That's where I have to start gluing, is from this line down this way. Right? So I'm going to get my glue stick. And because of how this paper is rolled, you'll notice that the glue stick won't slide so easy. On some spots, you may have to go to like the middle of your page and then go this way, and then go this way. If that makes sense to you. You'll see it. Once you start making this, you'll get the hang of it. You'll see what works, what doesn't, and you're going to have a lot of fun. This is so fun. Okay? So I have my glue on there, and you do want to do a really good job gluing it. Make sure you have the whole thing covered. You can look at an angle with your light and you can see if there's any bare spots where you need more glue. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is get my bottle, and I'm going to start rolling this. Okay. Just like that. Start rolling it. And I like to take this off of my bottle after a little bit, and I'm going to show you why. Actually, I'm going to undo this, and I'm going to start rolling it like this. Okay, I need this to be tight. I'm going to wrap just like that, and I think I'll stop right here and check. Okay, it looks good. Okay, so I'll keep going a little bit more. Just like that. Okay, now I'm overlapping my second time. I don't know if you could see that, but I am. I've overlapped the second time. Now we are ready to add another piece of paper. So I'm fixing to take this off of here. Let me see if this one fits in here. Flip this around. Sometimes you have to try both ends, and if that doesn't work, then go to another paper, and if that doesn't work, then you will have to put this end inside of this one. And my ends are messed up because I was standing these up in a cup thing. Okay, so that fits in there. So I'm just going to put some glue in here, and then I'm going to slide this paper in as far as I can get it to slide. Okay. Something does not look right here to me. Maybe I need to flip it over. And if you're not happy with how this is going, let this dry, and then once it's dry, come back to it and then put another piece on it. And I might just have to do that because it wasn't going on straight. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to wait for this to dry. I'll come back and I'll put another piece of paper on. And I'm going to clean the glue off my mat. Okay, so this dried, and now it's stiff enough that I can put it in here. And I think I'm going to put this on here first, because it does get soft when it's wet with the glue. Just slide this on here. Okay. And then I'm going to put glue in here, like that. Okay. Now I have to get my glue stick again, and I'm fixing to take this off the bottle, and I want to show you how to get this bangle really tight. You want this to be nice tight wraps, because if it's not tight, you'll have problems, and I'll show you those problems because I have one that I made that didn't go tight on me. I'll show you what happened, okay? So I got my glue on there. I'm going to roll just past this part where I had to add more paper. Okay, so just past there. Now I'm going to take this off. See this right here? This is happening because it's not tight enough, and you'll start noticing it on your third wrap around. So what I do to fix that is I put my hand in here and I spin this. Okay? Can you see what I'm doing? I'm spinning this on my hand. Put your hand in there and make a fist and kind of flare this out, not too tight, because you could make it expand. Okay? You just want to flare your hand out enough to make this tight so that there's no gaps. So now when I take this off, see how thin it looks? There is this gap here, but to fix that, we actually, that could also be happening if you miss a glue spot. So if there's a spot there where there's not glue, that could also be happening. So now I'm going to glue more, and I'm going to stop gluing there. So just like this, I need to push some more glue out. Okay, so just like that. And then I'm going to press with my fingers just like this. Make sure this is wide. As I wrap this around, I just went too far. I need to be like that much sticking out so I can add more. And again, put this on, expand your hand out like I just showed you, make a fist, and go like this, okay? Make sure it's tight. Okay, and you can also go like this, squeezing it. Now I have to add a new paper, and let's see, do I have to put this inside here, or do I need to, yeah, this is gonna work. Okay, so I'm just gonna go like that, and I have to put the glue in because there's no space for me to glue. Okay, so I'll squirt some glue in, put this inside, just like that, and press that down, and then I start having to glue more. Just gonna roll this just a little bit to get away from the adding. Sometimes when I add paper, and I've gotten better at it because I've made more of these, when you add paper and you go to roll it, sometimes the new piece you just added will pop out. So always try to attach it to the bangle with the glue before I get too far, okay? So I just added some more glue. I'm going to press this down. Again, you could check this. I'm going to check it. Make sure it's tight. Okay. Right there's where I gotta stop and add more paper. So let's see. See how this point is going that way and this point's going that way? I noticed that when I put them inside each other like that, they fit better. And this one here has glue on it. So it's going to be sticking to this one. So I'm going to put a little bit in there. And also if you squeeze it and open it, it goes in better. And then my black paper I have here is sticky. It's got glue on it from my glue stick. Yeah, I should not have put glue here, because it's making a problem for me. Okay. I keep trying until I get it. And I got it. Right there it is. Okay, so I'm going to press this down. Then I'm going to continue gluing. And I have to be careful because I don't want this to slide out on me. So I'm just going to glue right up to there. And then I'm going to roll this just a few inches, stop, and then add more glue. Okay. And now I'm going to stop again, and I'm going to put this on my hand. And I'm going to, again, make a fist, pull this tight, straighten this out more. Okay, just like that, and keep wrapping this around. Okay, make sure it is tight. Expand your wrist. Now you can really squeeze it and expand it, because this is not going to get any bigger. We've already added several pieces of paper, and it's not going to expand when you put your hand inside of it. And this is the one I got glue on earlier, so let's see if I can shove it into one of these. Maybe this one. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna put glue on this side, because I don't want to take that back out and have bad luck of it getting stuck on me. Okay. And I'm going to put some more glue down. It always happens. Right here is the middle. So when we rolled it, we have whole like pockets that are going this way, and then there's pockets going that way. So I have to go this direction, and then I have to stop and go that direction when I glue it. You'll notice this when you go to do it yourself. Okay. I like rolling it this way for some reason. Okay. Put this on my hand again. Make sure it's smooth. Okay. You can also grab the sides right here. Make sure those are even. Okay. Again, I'm going to put this on my hand, and I'm going to expand my fist, and I'm going to make this tight. Press the paper down, and I'm going to continue doing this. And by the way, we are now repeating the same steps over and over. So I put my glue in there. I gotta find one to fit in there, and you know what? This is my skinny end. So I got the wrong end. I put it in the wrong end, maybe. I may have to put it in this end. Or maybe I had it right the first time. Let's go like this. Okay, so I'm gonna put glue in this one. Put this in here. slide that on, press that down, and again I'm going to glue this. So right here is the center of my paper, so I have to start here and go this way. Gluing. Okay, and again wrap this around. Put my hand in here again to make this tight. Alright, so you're going to be repeating, because this video gets longer and longer the more I show you guys, you're going to repeating this over and over, and you want your bangle to be pretty thick. I'll show you this one here. So you can see how thin it is now. So I still have a few more layers to go. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fast forward this. And if it doesn't work, then you won't see it fast forward. But I'm going to try to fast forward me doing the rest of it. Okay? So I finished rolling my bangle here, and this one is a little bit thinner than my finished one here, and I did want to add just one more piece of paper, but I like the colors in this a lot, and I haven't made one yet where I'm happy with the colors on the outside. Like there's a woman's face on this one, so I think I'm going to not add one more piece. I think I'm just going to glue this, and then I'll varnish it maybe 4 or 5 times, because the other ones I have several coats of paint on. So yeah, I think I'll just varnish this one like crazy, because I really like the blue jeans and the pink and blue lettering. I think that's pretty on the sides there. Okay, so anyways, this one is a little bit thinner. I could add one more piece of paper, but I think I'm gonna leave it like that. I do want to show you guys something. If you don't take the bangle off of the bottle while you're wrapping it and wrap it around your hand and make a fist like I did and make it tight, this is what's gonna happen. You're going to have this problem. This is because it's not tight. See how it's lifting away from there? That is not good. Look at that right there. I could see through the bottom. Now, if this did happen to you, even though you kept it on there, maybe you have arthritis, you have a hard time keeping it tight, you can fix this, and I'll show you what to do. This one here is the one that I kept tight, and we so much don't have that problem. It comes apart just a little bit. This one part here doesn't really come apart at all. But it's not that bad, as you could see, because we kept that tight, okay? Okay, so I'm going to show you how to fix this if this does happen to you. You're just going to take Elmer's glue. Where's my tube? Here it is. This is my smaller one. But wherever you have openings like that, big gaps, just open that up Okay, and you just want to put your glue in here. Okay, and then you want to press this. And it will ooze up at the top, but don't worry, that is perfectly fine. It's actually a benefit towards us, okay? So if you have any gaps, just push it in there, push it down. Okay, just go around the whole thing if you have any problems like that, filling it in with glue. This is what happened to me when I first started doing this. I had this problem, and I filled it in, but then I realized, well, if I make it tighter as I go around, I shouldn't have that problem. So I started putting it on my hand and pulling it tight, and that problem went away. So now I'm going to show you what to do next. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to seal the bangle with Mod Podge hard coat. If you don't have the hard coat, you can just use Elmer's glue, because I'm trying to keep this a low cost project for everybody. So this is the one here that I was filling with glue. If you do this to your bangle, where you have to push the glue in there and pull it tight, make sure that you smear it around at the top. You really want to fill it up. If you're doing this with Elmer's glue, after you pack the thing with glue, if you had that problem like I showed, you can then just take your Elmer's glue and go like this on the edge, and you want to go all the way around your bangle, okay? So pretend I've gone all the way around. Then you want to take your finger and you want to push this glue in. This is going to seep into the bangle, and it's going to make it really hard, like doing paper mache. Paper mache gets really hard from all the glue that's used in it, okay? Now, I would still take the Mod Podge hard coat, because I have it, and I would do a coat on this with my paintbrush and totally seal it, because that really does make it hard. This one here, I have Mod Podge hard coat, just one coat of it, and it is really hard. Look, I'm squishing it. See how hard it is? And listen, that's pretty hard. That's just one coat, the Mod Podge hard coat. So with this one here, what I like to do is I'll flip my bottle upside down. The glue goes onto the lid. Then I just take the lid off. And then I have glue in the lid, and I don't have to stick my finger or my brush in there. And then I'll just go like this and get glue in my finger. You can also use the brush, but I've kind of learned that doing it with the finger is best, because you get more glue and you're not wiping as much excess away. But I only do this part on this right here. So I go around the whole edge. See, this one I didn't have to fill in holes with glue, because this one's not lifting away because we made this one really tight. So I just go around this whole thing. Okay, just like this. And you'll know when you're done, because you'll see the white haze of glue all over it. And if you have any oozing on the inside, just go like that. Wipe it off. If you have any on the outside, just go like this. Okay. Now that looks pretty good. You could see how much glue I have in that. Okay. If I used a brush in this, which I have several times, it takes away a lot of the glue. And I really realized that it's better to do it with my finger, because I'm adding more glue and it's going to dry harder for us. Okay, so once you do this side, clean this off here. You don't want any drips on the sides or the insides of your bangle. Once you're done with this, you could flip this over, and I have a craft mat here, so it's fine that glue gets on it because it wipes right off. And then you want to do this side, okay? So once you do this side, you want to let this dry. Okay, and make sure you bend it into a round shape. If it has a strange shape like this one here, see how this one has like a point at the top? Push it down like that, okay? Just shape it into a circle. And if your glue is dry on the inside here, you can slide this over something round to make it keep a rounder shape. And see how this is lifting up right here? That's no biggie. Just take a little bit of glue, put it on the inside, and go like this. And actually, I prefer when this side's dry and when this side's dry, what I then do is I take my paintbrush and I come in here and I paint the inside with the glue. I let that dry, and then once that's dry, I put my hand here on the inside like this, and then I take my brush and I seal the entire outside with one coat of Mod Podge hard coat. And then when all of that's dry, and I've actually let it dry overnight because I'm doing this at nighttime, the next day, after it's all dry and it's rock hard, I go ahead and I do my next step. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. So now at this point, after the glue has dried and you're ready to move on, you can do anything you want to this. Now I'm going to show you how to do the chalk paint. And by the way, you'll do the same exact thing for the thinner bangle. So here you can see I've already have this one complete. And when I'm done working on this one, I'll show you how to do this one here. So if you guys have any other ideas than what I've already done to this bangle, let me know, or show me on Facebook. I would love to see what you've come up with for this. So now I'm going to paint this with the chalk paint. I'm going to do a napkin on this bangle, so I need to have a solid white background. Oh, and I forgot. Flip it upside down just like I did the glue, and then the paint will be in the lid. See? And then I can get my paint right out of the lid. So I do have a little what you call it, a method to doing this. I like to do the outside just like I'm doing now, okay? And by the way, I have done 2 coats in this because the magazines are so dark, I've had them show through. So I do 1 coat like that on this side, and then I flip it over and I hold it like this on the outer edge. And make sure you have your rag nearby because you're going to have to wipe your hands off. And then I do this side. Okay? You could see how quickly this goes on. This is probably my favorite part. I don't know why I really enjoyed painting these. And if you're good at painting, if you're an artist and you can paint really well, you can do some awesome paintings on this and you can wear your art. That would be so awesome. If any of you do your own paintings, I would love to see what your finished piece would look like, because that would be so cool. Okay, so I just did this side and this side, both sides, and then what I do is I come in here, I just got paint in my mat, I come in here and I go like this and I go at an angle, because you may notice that the lines on the paper are at an angle, so I just go with the lines and I do the whole bangle. It's pretty quick. Okay. I'm almost done. Love this chalk paint. I actually bought this chalk paint to do decoupaging because I love to do decoupaging. And I haven't even used it for that purpose, but, well, I guess I did decoupage on the bangle, but I meant to do it on a box. Okay, so I just did the whole inside there, so I have the inside and the outer edges done, and I just sit it up like this somewhere where it doesn't roll, and I let it dry. And it dries pretty quick, and once it's dry and you touch it and it doesn't feel wet, then we're going to do the outside. Okay, so this on the outside has dried, but the inside's still wet, so I'm just going to hold it here, and you might have to do that too if you can't wait like me. And then you just want to go ahead and paint the outside here. And again, I do 2 coats in this entire bangle because it does show through. Okay, so go ahead and paint your entire bangle with 2 coats of chalk paint, and then when you're done with that, you can either do the napkin, which I'm going to show you how to do, or you can paint it with acrylic paint and then do the gilding flakes, which both are really fun. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this up here. If you want, you can look around to see if there's any spots you have to go over again, and I like to make sure that I have no runs. Who wants the runs anyways, you know? Just check the outer edges and make sure there's no marks where the paint is running, because that is going to stay there. You can't get rid of that. Okay. So now I'm going to lay it like that to dry because the outside's wet. So I'm going to let that dry, and once that first coat dries, I'm going to do a second coat, and then when my second coat is dry, I'm going to come back to you guys and show you how to do the next step. My second coat of chalk paint is now dry. I did the entire thing a second time. And now I'm going to show you how to decoupage on the napkin. This one here that I did 3 different sections. This was one section, and then this here. And I did that because I didn't like the entire napkin. I only wanted certain areas of the napkin. And before I glued them down, what I do is I lay my napkin down. I'll do it in this one. I lay my napkin down before I even cut it off of the whole entire napkin, and I'll see what section that I want. So as you can see here, I cut this strip out, and you can see the sides right here. I'm going to try to keep the smaller flower in here on the center, so I have to kind of stay centered of this piece. And you want to see where your napkin closes at, because one side won't look as nice. So this side here, when I overlap this, it's cutting off that flower. And then when I overlap that side, it looks much better. See that? I want that look. So I have to remember to glue this side down first. And before I do any gluing, I have to take the back off of this. Napkins have a second layer. Some have 3 layers. This is a 2-ply. You gotta be very careful because you could rip the pretty side. Okay, so I'm just taking this off. Don't need that. And now I'm going to glue this on, and I have to make sure that this one here is going to be where I want it to be. Okay, so maybe I should stick this on first. And remember, I want this to be the last part that I put on. So I'm going to get my glue over here, and I'm using the hard coat for this. I'm going to put some glue on. You do want to have kind of a generous amount for this because we need it to stick and the napkin absorbs the glue. So I do kind of put on a lot. And if you put a nice amount on, a generous amount, you'll be able to slide the napkin. If you don't put a generous amount on, you can't reposition it if you have to. Okay, so this is the end I need without that white flower. I'm gonna try to do the little rose part first. Okay, just like this. I don't want the wrinkles, but it will happen. It is very hard to not get them. Now, I don't glue over top of this yet. I do that later on when I seal it. Just because I have to do it later on anyways. And if I glue it now, it's going to be very aggravating dealing with that. Okay, now I'm going to glue the rest here. Again, you want to put a nice amount on. Hopefully I don't have a lot of wrinkles. I love this napkin. I love the pink shabby chic flowers. It's so cute. Okay. Let's see, where did I stop? Right here. Okay, so I'm just gonna go down there, press it down. It looks really good so far. Now I do have this little spot down here before I put glue here. Just want to look at it. Okay, so see right here, I'm overlapping that pink rose. I'm going to fix this up some. I have this water pen, and I'm going to get this wet. Just a little spot right there. And I'm going to pull that off there. Oh, look at that. That green continues for my leaf. Isn't that neat? Okay, so I just fixed that. And I thought there was another area right here. I'll take this area off. This little spot. So it looks more continuous. Okay. And I could get some of this green leaf here maybe. It will be a little tricky to do. Let's see. I have to take some of this white out. It's going to show through when I glue it. So I might as well take that out. Okay, that looks really nice. I'm now going to glue it down. Get my glue. And I do have to come over the edge here, because it will overlap some. Okay. And just to do this end right here, I will go ahead and go like that. Okay. Just a little bit. And now I have to trim all of the excess off, and I'm going to use my smaller scissors, and I just follow the side of my bangle here, trimming this off. You can trim like a large amount of the excess off if you want, like that, and then come back just to get it out of your way and make it look tidier, which is what I've done. When I did 3 different sections on the other one, I did one at a time, so I trimmed all of this away, and then I glued the next part on. Okay, and you can look from the side here. Get glue on my scissors and see what you have to trim off. Okay, so you just want to go around this and clean it up. And if any of your edges are lifting, you can take your paintbrush, like right here, and go on the edge, like this, and smooth it down. Okay, just like that. I have a little bit more to trim off. There's a spot right here. Always look from the side because you could see if there's any more to trim before you glue the edge down. Okay, and that is good enough for me. So now I'm just going to go like this with the side of my brush. You don't want very much glue for this, it just takes a little bit. And just lay that down, and I use my finger to apply more pressure. Alright, so this looks good now. So now you have to do the same thing on this side. So once you have this side complete, go ahead, trim this off just like I did to here. And you want to glue the edge down, and then we're ready for our next step. It looks pretty good. I finished putting the napkin onto my bangle, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. I like how it closed up for me. It went pretty good. And now I'm going to do some gold on here. I would love to do the gilding flakes on here because of the vintage look on this. It would just be so gorgeous with the shabby chic napkin. But this is very time consuming, and I'm actually on my second day of filming this tutorial. So to make this faster for me, I'm going to do just the gold paint like I did on this one here. So I'm going to do the gold paint on this one, and later on I will show you how to do the gilding flakes on the bracelets here so you know how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to set this to the side, and I'm just going to put, I already shook this bottle, I'm just going to put some gold paint here on my mat. It's non-stick, and I just do one coat on this and I let that dry, and then I do the second coat. I start by doing the sides first. And I do like to go right up to the edge of this. I kind of like the gold paint right on the edge. I think it looks pretty, and it's that handmade look. Okay, so I just go right up to the edge there. And this gold paint doesn't cover very well, so I have to do 2 coats. Every time I've used it, I've had to do 2 coats, no matter what I've painted on. I've painted on wood. I've used this on ceramic. I think it was ceramic. Maybe it was porcelain. But anyways, I'm just going to do this, and I have to be very careful not to get it on my napkin. Okay. So, I'm going to continue painting this side. I'm going to paint this entire side, and I'm going to hold it just like this, like I did earlier. And once I have this side painted, I'm going to flip it over, paint this side, and then I'm going to hold it like this, and I'm going to spin this, holding the outside, and paint the inside here of my bangle. And then I'll set it up like this to dry, and then once that's dry, I'll go back in and I'll do my second coat. And when I'm done with my second coat of gold, I'll come back to you and show you what to do next. I finished my second coat of gold, and it looks really good, and now I'm going to varnish this. And I'm going to varnish the napkin first because, you know, this paint has been sitting here for a few minutes and it is dry to the touch. So I just figured that I'm going to paint or varnish the napkin first, let that dry. It will also give the gold paint more time to harden. And to do the napkin, I'm just going to hold it like this on my hand, and I've learned that when I go to varnish the napkin, it is best to do a thin coat on your first coat of the varnish, because if you put too much varnish on, it will start to wrinkle. So you want to do a thin coat. Okay? And I'm just going to do the entire napkin, and then when the napkin has dried, I'll varnish the rest of the bracelet. And I varnish my bracelets 3 times. You can do 4 if you feel that it needs more, but when I make my paper beads, I've always done 3 coats of varnish, and they were perfect. So yeah, I stay with 3 coats. Okay, so continue to varnish this, let it dry, varnish it again, let it dry, and varnish it again, and let it dry. Okay, so keep going, varnishing your bangle. Now I'm going to show you how to do the gilding flakes on the bangle. And this one here, I did the same thing to this one as I did to these here, of course. I rolled the paper, I glued in the crevices, I varnished it with the Mod Podge hard coat, I let that dry, and then I painted it with chalk paint. And now what I'm going to do is paint it with acrylic paint. And I'll do 1 or 2 coats depending on how good my coverage is. And like I've told you already, I've found it best to paint the outside edge first, flip it over to the other edge, and then paint the inside of the bangle, let that dry, standing up like this, and then once the edges are dried and the inside, then paint the outside. And you want to do 1 or 2 coats in this depending on how much coverage you got. If it looks like you need a second coat, go ahead and do a second coat. This pink one is pretty good. I could probably just do 1 coat with this pink one, but the green and the blue bracelet I had to do 2 coats of color on those because it didn't cover that well. So go ahead and continue painting your bangle with acrylic paint, any color you like. And once you have 1 to 2 coats done, depending on how much coverage you got, then I'm going to show you how to do the gilding flakes. Now I'm going to show you how to do the gilding flakes, and whenever I do this I like to take the flakes out of this container that they come in because there is a ton in here and they really compact this jar full of the flakes, and I take it out and I put it into another bowl and I break it up into smaller pieces because there are some really huge pieces in here and I don't need my pieces to be that big. And do not do this outside because if the wind were to blow, all of this is going to be flying away. It is so airborne, and as you can see, just opening the jar, pieces fly out of the jar. So I put some in here and I broke it up into smaller pieces, and I'm going to use the matte Mod Podge because I think, out of my experimenting, that when I did the Modge Podge hard coat with the leafing, I kind of feel like it turned out darker. But I did let this sit for 24 hours before I got to varnish it, so I only had glue on this. Now, if you do want a darker vintage look like this, you could do what I did and leave it unvarnished for 24 hours and then varnish it, and you have that really vintage, really cool looking aged bangle there. But I'm going to try to keep it gold like these here, and I'm going to put on my gold leaf now. And you want to use a small paintbrush because if you were to use a bigger one like I was using for painting earlier, when you go to pick up your gold leaf, you're going to pick up too much at one time. So get some glue. Again, this is the Mod Podge matte. Paint it on. Then get a piece and you'll stick it on like this, and then you'll paint the glue over it. And you can move it some, like see how I just moved that one there? Okay. And see how I have this little blank spot right here? I will go back and I use the end of my paintbrush and I'll get a smaller piece and I'll fill that in. Okay, so this is very easy to do and it's really fun. I really like doing this. And I would love to try this stuff on my nails. I've never tried it on my nails, but I believe it's been done before and I would love to do it. And if you pick up two at a time like I just did, don't put it back in the bowl because it'll stick to the floor of your bowl and it'll be a problem. Just hold on to it like I just did there with my hand and then pick it up on your next round. Okay, so as you can see, this is very easy to do. I paint over all of this as I'm laying it down. After I do the entire bangle with the gold leaf, I put all the leafing on it, I go over it again and I do a whole coat of the matte Mod Podge. I don't wait for it to dry. It might be a little wet, but I just put it all on. I get a nice thick coat going of the matte Mod Podge, and I let that dry. And when it's dry, you'll know because it will be clear. It will no longer be this milky color, okay? And then when it turns clear, you can varnish it. And you want to varnish it as soon as possible if you don't want it to have that tarnished look. I'm going to put that one there. Stuck in my finger. Alright, so this is how you add the gold leaf. And if you want to add the gold leaf like I did on the inside of this, you're just going to be putting the flakes right up beside each other. Right on top of each other. Okay, so keep going this. Add all your gold leaf. Do a whole coat of the matte Mod Podge. Let that dry. Once its milkiness has gone away and it's clear, then you want to do 3 coats of the polycrylic varnish or whatever varnish you like. You can do diamond glaze on this if you have diamond glaze, and let that dry, and then you're all done and you have some really awesome bangles. So I wanted to show you guys, this one here had this white spot that just had some writing on it. It had like perfume. It was about a perfume bottle or something. So I put what leftover napkin I had on this, And then I went and I put the gold gilding flakes on it. And instead of using the Mod Podge matte, I put it on with the polycrylic varnish. And I'm going to see if it keeps its really bright gold color or if it's going to tarnish. If it doesn't tarnish, I will let you know. I will put it down there in the comments. If it doesn't tarnish, I will let you know. I'll know by tomorrow because it only takes 24 hours to see the difference. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and like me on Facebook. And don't forget to share pictures of the jewelry you've made from my videos on my Facebook page, and follow me on Pinterest. Thanks for watching.